Not long ago, the Perseverance rover touched down on Mars. Now, it's exploring the surface and sending back videos to Earth. But the Perseverance was sent all the way out to the far reaches of space with a friend, the Ingenuity. The Ingenuity is a small helicopter that rests on the belly of the Perseverance and is used primarily for scouting. In this video, we'll go over all the details of the Ingenuity rover and NASA's mission to Mars. But before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Alright, let's get started. Why Ingenuity? You probably already know about the Perseverance touching down on Mars a few weeks ago. If you don't, we have a video going over it that you can check out. The Perseverance is a huge rover, dwarfing previous missions to Mars. This allows it to do a lot more research, but also means that it was slow. And due to the many dust storms that can kick up on Mars and change the terrain slightly, sometimes where it would be headed, or even knowing if it could get there, was a shot in the dark. The Ingenuity solves this problem. The small helicopter only has two purposes: to scout out ahead of the Perseverance and ensure the path is clear. The second, and perhaps more important purpose, was just to see how a helicopter would function in Mars' thin atmosphere. The Ingenuity has no scientific instruments on it to analyze rocks or collect data, only communication devices and two cameras. It's solar-powered, of course, and can charge on its own. Martian challenges. There are all sorts of challenges that the Ingenuity has to overcome to take flight. First is, of course, the thin atmosphere. The Martian atmosphere is less than 1% of Earth's atmosphere. On top of this, there are extreme winds that can reach hundreds of miles per hour during storms. And to top it all off, the temperatures can range from 90 to negative 130 degrees Fahrenheit, meaning it has to handle extreme temperatures. There is only one advantage to flight on Mars, and that is the planet's lower gravity. Things weigh about a third of what they do on Earth. That means the 4-pound Ingenuity weighs just over a pound on Mars. To combat the thin atmosphere, it has relatively large rotors that spin faster than comparable helicopters. Its body is covered in reflective material to help combat some of the extreme temperature changes. But most importantly, it has an AI that works in tandem with the flight team at NASA. They map out a route for the Ingenuity, and it is able to compensate for that flight path no matter what obstacle is in its way: low power, extreme winds, and more. Flight history. The first few flights of the Ingenuity were test flights. The first flight was very simple. All the Ingenuity did was take off the ground, rise into the air, hover, do a turn, and land. However, this simple technology that would be child's play on Earth is exacerbated greatly on Mars. Remote-controlled drones aren't new by any means, but the Ingenuity set a record for the furthest controlled flight from Earth. This was impressive, especially considering the extreme communication delays between Earth and Mars. This delay is why the first flight started out so simply. The next two flights were similar to the first, just with greater distances and higher altitudes. The future flight plans. After the tech demo was completed, researchers are now working on an operations demonstration phase to explore how new aerial explorers will work with future rovers. This is because the Ingenuity and the Perseverance are both performing better than expected, and the Perseverance is ahead of schedule with its research. Now that we know the Ingenuity, or rather controlled remote flight on another planet, actually works, it can do what it was designed to do: scout ahead and look for other viable landing zones for new rovers. However, these flights will require a lot more precision maneuvering and more risk, so it's not a sure thing. Many of the potential locations the Ingenuity could fly to are either very close to where the Perseverance is, or close to one of its stops along its mission, which will allow it to be retrieved without much issue. In addition to this, as the operational functions of the Ingenuity are demonstrated, it will slow down in its use. For the next few days, it will be used every few days, and gradually slow to being used once every few weeks. The first of these operational demonstrations was done on May 7th, where it flew south about 423 feet on a one-way journey. It will await further instructions, which can be delivered from the Perseverance. The flight in question only lasted about 2 minutes, shorter than the information delay between Earth and Mars, which is somewhere between 3 and 22 minutes, depending on the time of year. Fortunately, the Ingenuity's autopilot capabilities get around that limitation handily, though it's certainly still an annoyance. More about the Ingenuity. The Ingenuity Mars helicopter was constructed by the JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and was supported by NASA's Science, Aeronautics, and Space Technology Mission Directorates. Recently, NASA released video to the public of the Perseverance recording Ingenuity's fourth flight. This included a microphone, which captured the sound of the wind on Mars and the Ingenuity in flight. It's strange to think that on our world, this audio would just sound like a bad recording with buzzing in the background. But because it's on Mars, this is the first recording of another spacecraft in flight. Considering the Ingenuity was over 260 feet away, it's surprising that the sound was picked up at all. Though, there isn't much else to get in the way of the sound. The wind, Perseverance, and Ingenuity are probably the loudest things on Mars right now. NASA also posted a version of this video in 3D, the classic kind, requiring a red and cyan lens to view it with. In the future, this sound technology used by the Perseverance will be useful in doing routine maintenance checks, as scientists and engineers can now listen for problems that could be present in the Perseverance and the Ingenuity. More importantly, it's interesting to see just how much like Earth Mars really looks. If you didn't know any better, it would be easy to guess that this footage was shot in some desert somewhere. Were you surprised by how mundane Mars looked up close? Let us know in the comments. A success? Overall, it's hard to call the Ingenuity's first few flights anything but a resounding success. They are impressive if looked at when compared to Earth, but this is a remote-controlled helicopter flying on the surface of another planet. The stakes are high. If it crashes, they can't simply send someone out there to pick it back up. Despite the amount of caution and care that is being put into the Ingenuity's flight tests, as well as the mission of the Perseverance, both are running way ahead of schedule. Unless something horrible goes wrong fast, this mission will be one of the most successful space exploration missions NASA has had in years. While the Perseverance wasn't really a new concept, just a bigger rover with more updated technology, the Ingenuity was something entirely different, to the point where some scientists didn't even know if it would work in Mars' thin atmosphere. The atmosphere of Mars is only about 1% as dense as Earth's. Considering a helicopter functions by pushing air down and generating lift, scientists weren't sure if a helicopter would work without sufficient air to push down on. Fortunately, 95% of Mars' atmosphere is carbon dioxide, which is readily found on Earth, and the concept could be tested thoroughly on Earth. After confirming that it worked, the only thing left to do was to hope and pray for the best. Considering the Ingenuity has completed 5 flights at time of writing and has wholly exceeded expectations, it would appear that the prayers for success worked. The Ingenuity really does live up to its name after all. Thanks for watching our video. Looking for more? Check out this playlist. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss more videos by us. We've done a video on the Perseverance mission before. Why not check it out? It's linked in the description below. We've also got 2 more videos coming up soon, so stay tuned. What did you think of the Ingenuity? What do you think the future holds for aerial technology on other planets? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Why not drop a comment telling us what you think about this incredible achievement? Anyway, we'll see you in the next video. Take care.